So I just wanted to share a couple quick tips with you on what it is we're teaching people and why we start there. And a lot of it has to do with, believe it or not, getting to the point of creating those daily habits. So I love this quote by Jim Rohn when he said, "Success is nothing more than a few simple habits practiced every day." I love that quote because it's really true. It's a few simple habits that you practice every day. And we make it more than it is. And whenever we make something so big that it seems unachievable, we make it impossible to do. So what we want you to do is make it really simple so that it's, just easy to get to. And I'm going to just show you a couple of the things we do to help people get those habits planted in their lives. So the first thing we always do is start with mindset. I'm not going to go into mindset too deeply today because we spend a lot of time on mindset in our courses. But you have to know what your why is. If you don't know your why, you're never going to do your what. You got to spend time knowing why it matters to you. Because if you don't really care about something, you're never going to do it. So don't do it because someone else wants you to. Don't do it because you're trying to get into a size smaller for some event, because you'll never stick with it. But also take into account, if you're trying to accomplish something, know if there are brain problems involved, because sometimes you sabotage yourself, not because you're trying to sabotage yourself or because you can't do it, but because there are some simple things you could do, or maybe there's even a deeper issue that's not a simple thing, but you need to get some help for it. And once you get help for it, it won't seem like such a big deal. Sometimes it really is a medical issue, so it's not an issue of willpower. So just want you to think about that. So we see so many people sabotaging themselves, and it's an issue of ADD or deep emotional trauma, or a head injury, or sometimes it's as simple as getting your vitamin D and your testosterone optimized, but they keep shooting themselves in the foot and can't move forward because they don't fix these things. So know that before you even get on to this next part. And then this is a crazy question, but I want you to think about this because this is really helpful. Do you deserve it? So if you're trying to get a new job, why would that person hire you? Do you deserve to have that job? Why would that person hire you? If you want a relationship that you've always dreamed of, or a house, whatever it is, or you want to be a best-selling author, do you deserve it? And what I mean by that sounds harsh, but it's a really good question. Because if the answer to the question is no in your head, you're never going to get it. But the way that you change it is ask yourself, why would that person want to be with me? Why would that person want to hire me? Or why should I get that? Or why wouldn't they want to? And if the answer is they wouldn't want to, then ask yourself, what about me wouldn't they want? That's the area, that's the template for you right there to work on. That's your self-help book right there. You know the answers. That's where you get to start working on it. If it's because I'm flaky or I'm this or I'm that, you know why someone doesn't want to be with you. If your dream guy doesn't want to be with you, is it because you're flaky? Is it because you have bad habits? Is it because whatever it is, and you're trying to attract someone who's not flaky, then work on that. So start on that before you get to these next parts, okay? And that can be really helpful in helping you get to your next step. But these 7 simple things can really help you in your daily habits on being successful. So the first thing I do is when I'm getting started, I spend a little time reverse engineering. I ask myself what my end result is, okay? Whether it was I wanted to graduate top of my class in college, or I wanted to be a best-selling author. Just giving you a couple of examples. Well, how am I going to do that? Okay, so I go to the end. I picture the end, and I spend a lot of time visualizing those end results. Like, what's it going to feel like? What's it going to look like? All of those things. And then I reverse engineer it. How am I going to get, day by day? First, I do it month by month, and then I do it day by day. How am I going to get to that point? Because if you start doing it from now until then, you're going to miss something. But if you do it backwards, you almost will never miss something. Hopefully that makes sense. You can schedule it out. So reverse engineer it. If it's losing weight, doesn't matter what it is. One thing. I want you to remember the most important thing. So you've got to prioritize, and you've got to do it brutally, like a warrior mentality. You've got to prioritize. And that means cutting out other stuff that's going to feel painful. That's just the reality of it. So if you really want something, you've got to cut out the extra stuff. I had to cut out going out when I was in college. I had to cut out, it depends on how badly you want something. Or for me, being a mom is so important. That's one of my highest values. I've missed being on talk shows because of it. I'm going to miss 2 of our, shows being on television for public television during my book launch for The Brain Warrior's Way because my daughter has an event that she's doing for Christmas. No way I'm going to miss it. So if you know those values and you know the one thing that's going to get you what matters to you the most, It's easy to say no to the other stuff. But know the one thing. And when it comes to your goals, know the one thing that gives you the most leverage. Okay? What is the one thing that you can do that's going to move you forward the fastest? Okay? Cut the other stuff out. Just start brutally cutting the stuff out and not even thinking about it. Think about it, but I mean, don't think about it after you've decided that you know, because then you're just going to feel bad about it. Then chunk down. So know the thing you're going to do, and then if it feels too big, if that thing feels too big, the one thing you're going to work on, the one thing you're going to decide to do, if it feels too big, chunk it down. Meaning, I'm going to lose 100 pounds. Feels ridiculously huge. Or I'm going to become a best-selling author. Feels like, oh, I don't know how to do that. Or I'm going to get a black belt. That feels really big. But if you chunk it down really small. Today I'm going to cut out, maybe it's not even I'm going to cut out sugar. Today I'm going to cut out this thing that has sugar in it. Right? The one thing that's a habit for you. I'm going to cut out this one thing that I normally eat. Make it that small. And then celebrate it. I mean, like, be stupid. Celebrate. And then the next day, and do that for a week. And then make it a little bigger. Now I'm going to go a whole day without sugar and do that for a week. And then, do you see what I'm saying? So if it feels too big, chunk it down to where it doesn't feel too big. It's not someone else's goal. Don't let anyone else tell you how it feels. Make it your own. Chunk it down to where it feels doable, and it is doable for you. Then move on. The next one, I said celebrate. The next one is let it go. Let it go. Okay? This is so hard for women. Let it go. If you walk in my closet, you need to take a GPS device with you. Okay? You need some way or a compass to get out. And I actually don't care. I'm actually not afraid to tell anybody that. Do you know why? Because yes, I have written 8 books in 7 years. I don't miss any of my daughter's school events. Those are my priorities. I love teaching my community and my classes. I really don't care if my closet gets cleaned up. That's just a fact. So if things are a little bit messy in my house, like, I have to prioritize. What are the things that are going to move me forward in my mission in life? What are the things that are going to make me a better person and help me succeed and get me the goals that I want, help me be the best mom I can be? If it doesn't fit into that, then it's probably not going to get done, or I'm going to have someone else help me get it done. Okay, does that make sense? Let it go and don't dwell on it. And then forgive yourself. You're going to fall. I practice karate. I used to practice taekwondo. I practiced martial arts for many years. And the first thing I learned that was one of the most valuable lessons I ever learned. I walked in and they're like, all right, pad up. We're going to do this, that, the other, and you're going to fall a lot. And I'm like, wait a second. I've spent my whole life trying not to fall and being perfect. Let me know how that works out for you. Didn't work out very well for me. Probably not working out very well for you. Most important lesson I ever learned from martial arts was it's not only okay to fall, it's not only expected, it's like mandatory to learn how to fall and get up, and it's not considered failure. So forgive yourself when you fall, don't call it failure, and get up. And then protect your decision making. So I don't even like to call it willpower, because willpower is a little like driving a boat or putting a boat on autopilot and then trying to steer against the autopilot. And the second you let go, it goes right back. Okay, so you don't want to really be thinking willpower, but you do want to be thinking decision making, because it's actually a scientific fact that the human brain can only make so many decisions before it gets exhausted and fatigued. So number one, you want to be careful how many decisions you make before you make an important decision. And number two, don't let yourself have low blood sugar. Okay? Make sure you're eating to protect your decision making, you're getting enough sleep, and you're staying hydrated. Those 3 things alone, if you do nothing else, will protect your decision making. And don't make a whole bunch of small decisions before you need to make an important one. That will seriously protect your decision making when it comes to your big goal. And that's the big thing, right? That's the thing that's going to propel you forward. That's your leverage in life. So I hope this was helpful. If so, you can actually get a whole bunch more information like this. This was just one tiny little taste of what's in our books, the 2 books, The Brain Warrior's Way and The Brain Warrior's Way Cookbook. I've never been happier or more excited about any of our books.